Hi, I'm Deborah Roth from Spirited Living and delighted to be back here with you all whenever you're watching this in our Divinely Feminine space, Dancing with Our Divinely Feminine Wisdom, where we meet each week to get to know or to reclaim or to reconnect some member of our inner goddess team, because the goddess, that archetype is something that exists in all of us, regardless of our gender. And in this space, what I've done now for the last year kind of amazes me almost every week, is brought in a different goddess from cultures, from religions, from belief systems, spiritual practices around the world. And it's been a wonderful journey for me. I hope those of you that tune in find it to be so as well. Many of them I'm familiar with because of all the work that I've done through Spirited Living and my women's circles and my master's thesis that was on the power of the divine feminine, and particularly in rituals. So many of them are familiar to me, and I have at least heard most of their names, but this one today is Ilmatar. She's a Finnish goddess, from Finland, which I've heard of, and she has the most wonderful mythology around her. And the reason that we're bringing her in this week, that we are claiming that particular aspect of the divine feminine, is because her feast day in Finland is tomorrow, is August 26th. I have to say, I couldn't find a whole lot about what they actually do on this feast day other than dance all night the night before and then eat lots of wonderful food the day of her feast day, which is what we should do on a feast day. But she just has the most wonderful creation story, because she is indeed Ilmatar. I've been pronouncing it the wrong way in the past. The accent is on the first syllable. She is the daughter of nature. She is the goddess of creation in the Finnish pantheon, if you will. She's known as a water mother, but she's also, her name, Ilma means air, and let's see, Ilma is air, and Tar is female spirit. So in her mythology, she actually brings in all of the energies of the four elements, as we know in nature, and she is a nature goddess. She is a female air goddess. Ilmatar is what her name means, and she gave birth to the earth. I couldn't find a whole lot of what she did after that, but her creation myth is really quite beautiful, which I will share with you as best I can, and I may have to check some of my notes, especially for some of these Finnish pronunciations. So she is, Ilmatar existed before everything else, in the void, in the ethers, in the cosmos, before there was anything there. And it was only her. She lived in the heavens, and at some point kind of got bored up there, and dropped into the cosmic sea, where she also continued to play, and did that for centuries. So the myth goes, so the story goes, and she got tired of that too, counting rainbows and playing with the wind, and began to yearn for a son, and yearned so deeply, and she fell into such a sad place about it, that the east wind heard her cries and took pity on her, and so they got together, and she was buffeted around by the wind, and was totally exhausted, and collapsed from their lovemaking, and at the point that she collapsed, it was clear that there was now inside her growing. Interestingly, it was not the first thing that she created that sprung forth from her. It was actually the last, but it was this very deep, powerful god, I guess he was actually the first shaman, Väinämöinen, and he was the child of the wind, of the east wind. So she floated for centuries in this primordial sea, in the ocean. That's where the water piece comes in, even though she's known as an air goddess. And she was not able to give birth because there was no land. So after 7 centuries, she began to give up hope. And then one day she noticed, this is interesting, a celestial duck. I'm not sure why it was a duck. Some versions of the myth say it was an eagle, who was exhausted flying above her. And she was exhausted because she was very pregnant and she was looking for a place to land. So Ilmatar beckoned her down, put out her knee, and the grateful celestial duck landed on her knee and promptly fell asleep. Now, if you've ever had a child or a person or anyone fall asleep on you, you want to be very careful not to move. And so after some period of time, Ilmatar got very uncomfortable, and her leg was heating up because these eggs inside the celestial duck were continuing to grow and quicken. And she moved, and when she moved, 6 eggs rolled out of the duck. 6 celestial eggs. What did they call them? They were kind of divine eggs. 6 cosmic eggs were laid, and 1 iron egg. And then the bird gathered them all up, sat on them, and that was it. When she moved, sat on them for a little bit longer, and then when she moved, everything fell over and they fell into the cosmic sea. And at that point, they started to create this I loved what they call it in one of the myths. See if I can find it. Let's see. She said that the eggs cracked. They touched the water, the eggs cracked, and they made sort of a vast cosmic omelette, which I thought was fun. She watched in amazement as this mixture solidified into heaven and earth. One of the yolks slipped up into the sky to become the sun. Another one, the egg white, became the moon. And then many of the other yolks became the stars. So we've got the sun, the moon, and the stars. And then the iron egg, remember there were 6 cosmic eggs. The iron egg became thunderclouds. They were dark thunderclouds. I'm leaning over because my lovely representation that I wanted to show you, if you can see her. She's shown often in an egg. Sometimes she's shown on the ocean, floating on the ocean. She was a virgin goddess too. And as we know from the work that we've done around the divine feminine, that virgin simply means woman who is one unto herself. So she was clearly this powerful being. She managed to create this place for her to live, and then ultimately took her a little while longer to birth this son, Vainamoinen, who she'd been waiting for land to birth him on. So she busied herself shaping everything, shaping lands and adding finishing touches, and then felt this stirring. And finally, centuries after she was impregnated by the east wind, she gave birth to this Vainamoinen, and he jumped out as a wise old man, as a kind of a jolly wise old man, and he was considered, as I said at the beginning, to be the first shaman. And he was also the bringer of music. He loved to chant, which of course I love to see that, because when I can, I try and share a chant with you in this space, because I love to sing, and I think it's just a very powerful way to invoke the divine, whether it's the divine feminine or any face of the divine. So that's the story of Ilmatar, and I will share with you one of my elemental chants. I don't know how many of those I've shared, but this is a very simple one, just to honor. And I invite you, since this is now, I'm recording this on the eve of her feast day, of Ilmatar's feast day. So dance tonight. You get to dance tonight, and then feast tomorrow, and you can celebrate her as the daughter of nature, as the creator, the creatrix of the universe, with this chant. Air I am, fire I am, water, earth, and spirit I am. Air I am, fire I am, water, earth, and spirit I am. Air I am, fire I am, water, earth, and spirit I am. Can you hear how you can harmonize with that? So I invite you to take in that beautiful chant, to take in this really wondrous creation story. If you've never heard it, it was new for me. And celebrate the divine feminine in yourself whenever you're watching this, as a celebration of you as creatrix, as a way to honor all of the divinely feminine qualities, our ability to connect with our intuition, with our emotions, our connection to nature, which of course Ilmatar is a classic nature goddess, and through nature to our bodies. So thank you so much for being with me. Definitely check out my website, spiritedliving.com, to find out when upcoming women's circles are, where we always are honoring the divine feminine and supporting each other on this, really during these challenging times, but during all times. Have a wonderful week. I will check in with you next week when I'm on Cape Cod, and let me know how your connecting with Ilmatar goes. Thanks for being with me. Namaste.